Gold Hoarder vaults have got to be one of the best ways to make money and reputation, at least with regular quests in the Sea of Thieves, so not an exploit. Not that I don't love exploits, but I've noticed that a lot of you guys that are joining my channel are a little bit newer to the game. And so I'm also going to start putting out tutorials on more of the basic quests and the more basic things in the game, because let's face it, some of these exploits aren't going to last long and some of them are already gone. So I want to show you guys who are a little bit newer to the game, or who may not know how to do these things normally, how to do them. That way, if your methods do get patched, you can still enjoy the game and level up quickly. Before I get started, I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot. Along with showing you how to actually do the vaults, I'm also going to explain a lot of helpful tips and different things for specific vaults, different strategies, and potential for money and reputation, as well as a demo of me doing one. The first thing you need to do to maximize your profit is to vote for the emissary flag that you are working for. Now, you should do this no matter what quest you're doing, but after voting for this emissary flag, if you're high enough level and have bought it, head to the quest table and vote for the Gold Hoarder vault. Now, you can either do a regular one or a Devil's Roar one, as well as you can do a 4-piece map or a 6-piece map. Now, this all depends on how much you want to make, how much risk you're willing to have, and how much time you have on your hands. But I would definitely recommend doing the hardest one that you physically can. If you can do a 6-piece in the Devil's Roar, that's probably your best bet. Do a 6-piece in the regular world if you don't feel like doing the Devil's Roar, and do a 4-piece if you don't have the time. But the 6-piece is definitely way more worth the time. When voting, you will get the chance to dive, which I highly recommend doing, as it brings you right to where you need to be to start your quest. But if not, go ahead and just skip to the next step if you decide that you want to sail there for some reason. Maybe you have loot on board or some other reason. You're going to follow your wayfinder that you get to the island that it's pointing at. Now, you'll know if you're on the right island because the needle will start vibrating or kind of twitching the closer you get, especially when you actually step foot on that island. Like I said, it's called the Golden Wayfinder, and it's the compass for the quest. It will point in the direction that you need to dig, and it will, like I said, it will twitch, vibrate, and all that kind of stuff as you get closer. If it's not twitching and vibrating, you are not on the right island. Just keep following it till it does that. Now, you're going to keep following this Wayfinder compass until it starts to spin. Now, once it starts spinning, that is where you need to start digging, and you should find your first map piece. Now, how many map pieces you need are going to depend on quite a few things. Now, which vault quest you picked is going to say how much you need for the full map. So you may either need 4 pieces or 6 pieces, but you don't necessarily need to find all of them. After you dig up each piece of the torn map, go ahead and check the torn map in your quest inventory. And if you can see the X where the chest is, and you can easily identify which island you are supposed to go to by its shape, then you do not need to find any more of the map pieces. The quest will end as soon as you dig up that chest. So if you're confident about where it's at, go ahead and go do it. Now, if this hasn't happened yet, you don't see the X, then you're just going to keep following the compass, and you're going to go from island to island to find the different map pieces, all until you find the X marks the spot, and you can easily identify which island it's on. Now remember, if the needle isn't vibrating, that's not the right island. You need to keep going past that island and go to the next one. Once you find the vault key, it will have an inscription on it, and it will tell you which island to go to, where to go on that island, and what you should be looking for. Also, it is worth mentioning that on the island, there is markings that will actually kind of tell you that you're in the right spot. They should match the theme of the key. Like I said, after you arrive at the island, it tells you where to bring the key. You should be looking for like a small cave or inlet or something like that. You'll be able to see almost like a little hidden door, and there should be a little square to put the key somewhere nearby. Make sure you are completely ready to go before putting this key in, because the next part is quite time sensitive. Once the key is placed in that little square, the first door will open, leading down to a second. Now, after a moment of waiting, the second door will open and lead you into the vault. The amount of time you have to do this is based on the amount of people you have, but these torches around the altar will slowly run out as the time runs out, so pay attention to them so you know how much time you have left. You have 2 main goals in this vault. You need to unlock the puzzle, granting you the best reward of the entire vault, the chest of ancient tribute, and your other goal is to get all the other chests down and out of that first set of doors that leads into the vault. Now, you don't have to take them all the way back to where you put the key at yet, but you want to at least get them outside that first one. But you don't have to bring them to the upper part. Just leave them outside this lower part. The vault puzzle will require a few steps. First, you will need 3 medallions, and if you are solo, I recommend doing this part first because it's, like I said, the most expensive thing in there. The 3 medallions are found like very bright, shiny things all around the vault. Now, I know there's quite a lot of shiny things, but they'll be up in weird spots, sometimes kind of on pillars, on the ground, places where you don't normally see chests. There is a way to do this with 1 or none of these, but I will explain that in the tips portion of the video and not here. After you get all 3 of these medallions, you can place them in the front of the altar and they will reveal 3 symbols. From left to right, follow the symbols and rotate these pillars around the room to match the pillars on the altar. So the leftmost pillar on the altar is going to be the leftmost pillar in the room, and so forth. Now the last pillar, the furthest to the right, will be a combination of all the other 3 symbols that you have already put in. Once you think you have it right, hit the button on the altar and that should open the tribute chest door. If it doesn't, one or more of your pillars is wrong. But don't worry, just keep trying. You should have plenty of time after they updated these. Make sure to take the tribute chest outside the vault with the other chest stack, and then you're going to start helping your team. Or if you're solo, you're going to start bringing down the rest of the chests out. But make sure you get that tribute chest all the way out of the vault before you start doing anything else. Now, you're going to make sure to also do all the parkour. There's tons of little ladders around the room, little platforms. Make sure you get everything out that you're looking for. In my case, I did it solo, so I didn't really want all the trinkets, but I did make sure to get every single chest out of all the upper parts of the rooms. Now, you're going to keep doing this, grabbing as many pieces as you want or need or can get until that last torch on the altar goes out and the room starts to shake. Now, once this happens, you should probably think about getting out of there because the room is about to slam closed and flood, killing you almost instant. And, I mean, you can respawn, but I will say that if everybody dies, sometimes it will reset the island, causing you to lose all your loot. So, definitely make sure you are out in time. Because, like I said, it fills with water, it'll kill everyone inside. Don't want to do that. After the vault door closes, all you need to do is get all the chests up past the first door that you opened and get it up and to your ship and then go ahead and sell it. Now, if you can, sell it at a grade 5 emissary to make the most of it, but if not, sell it whatever emissary you're at in case, just at least take that extra buff that you get from the whatever emissary you may be. So that was the basic tutorial on how to do this, but there are tons of tips and tricks that will help speed this up a lot. The first thing before even starting this is to probably, if you're looking at getting the trinkets, maybe go acquire some empty treasure chests to help you and your crew carry small trinkets out of the vault and up to your ship. You will also want to make sure that if you have multiple people in your crew that you assign roles before going in there. That way everything gets done as quickly as possible and no 2 people are trying to work on the same thing. That way you can all do what you're supposed to. That is the best thing to do. That way you don't get confused once you're in there. Have that organized beforehand. A little thing if you're doing the Ashen ones, if you are on Fetcher's Rest with a key, you can start the Heart of Fire Tall Tale and it will stop skeletons from spawning when you are bringing the loot up to your ship. So that's just a little thing that you can do if you happen to be on that island. Now you can stack multiple keys at the same time and do multiple vaults one after another to get greater efficiency. If you want to stay PvP free doing this, which I would highly recommend, you want to check your surroundings and the map for Reapers on the map before you even start. If there are some, just be aware that you may get attacked. And after you get to the Vault Island, park your ship in a hidden spot behind the island, like close to where you can harpoon. That way it's a little bit harder to see and you're less likely to get attacked, because when you're down in that vault, you may not even hear yourself getting attacked. Boat placement is also extremely important because, like I said, you can harpoon the loot onto your ship if positioned correctly, which massively speeds up how quickly you do this. I would also highly recommend using a captain ship so that you can sell the sovereigns, because this will give you tons of specific items, small items, chests, all that stuff. And while that's great, you definitely want to be able to sell it efficiently as well. So do this on a captain ship if you can, so that way you can sell sovereigns. Okay, now the way you can do the vaults without the medallions or with one medallion is pretty easy, but you gotta know all the details. I know this is gonna sound super complicated, but just stick with me here. If you are doing the vault puzzle with no medallions, you're gonna start with the last pillar. Now, as I said, the last pillar is a combination of all of the things that you will need. So you're going to look at what's on the last pillar, and it should be a big symbol and then 2 smaller symbols. What's going to happen is the first pillar, the one all the way to the left, that's going to be referred to as the first pillar. We're going to read left to right here. The first pillar is going to be the centerpiece. It's going to be either the skull, the chest, or the chalice. So you're going to take that and match it with the fourth pillar. The second pillar is either going to be a key and a lock, or it's going to be a single chain piece. If there is a single chain piece in the picture, it will be on this second pillar, no matter what. The third pillar can also be a key or lock, or it can be a double chain piece. If there is a double chain piece on that fourth pillar, it's going to be shown through this third pillar. The overall way to do this, like I said, is to start with the last pillar, see what's on it. Then you're going to go to the first pillar after looking at it and put on the main symbol. Next, you want to look at the other two smaller pictures. Is there a single chain, is there a double chain, or is there no chain? Well, if there's a single chain, you're going to want to go to the second pillar, second one from the left, and pick out the single chain piece that is oriented correctly, whether it's flat or up and down. That single chain piece will be on that second pillar. Now, if it's a double chain piece, the same as said, just it's going to be on the third pillar. So find the right orientation, but it's going to be on the third pillar. And that's always where it will be. If there's no chain, that means you can move on to the next step. If there's no chain on that fourth pillar in that picture, you can move on to the next step. The last step is you do the key and lock pieces, which only have two orientations. The key can be up or the key can be facing down. Now, you're going to fill in these last. If you have one of these, it's going to go on the pillar that you haven't done yet, because the other one should already be occupied by a chain and a main symbol. So if you have one, that's where this last one's going to go. And like I said, make sure that the key is in the right orientation. It could be facing up or down. If there are two keys and locks, that goes on the second and third pillar, as there shouldn't be any chains in that picture. So like I said, if the combination isn't correct, you have to switch the last pillar to its next possible solution and do all the other steps over again. Now, I know this sounds like a ton, but after you get used to it and your brain kind of gets in sync with what's happening, you only have to do it a few times, you'll get pretty good at it, and you'll be able to do this extremely quickly. Now, if you are able to get one medallion, you will follow all the same steps, except for when you put the first medallion in, it will give you the main picture, which will normally narrow what the last pillar is down to 2 options instead of the 4 options, so you should be able to get it twice as fast on average. Like I said, I know this sounds pretty rough to do, especially if you're a newer player, but as soon as you try this a few times, and hopefully the visuals I provided help give you an idea of what's happening, once you try this a few times and understand it, it's pretty good. But until then, go ahead and use the 3 medallions. And the last thing I want to say is my opinion is to always do the captained vaults. They are so much better. Like the 4 map piece vaults are really not worth it. If you don't have the time to do the 6 piece, I understand. But if you really can, do the 6-part vault when voting originally when you start your quest. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a demo of me doing it, and then I will go on to how much you make and the total potential for about how much you can make. First, I started by putting up my emissary flag for the gold hoarders, and next I voted for a captain's vault in the normal area of the map, which I would recommend if you have the time because it gives you way more loot. And then I chose the dive option because I wanted to get there quickly and I had no loot on board. I sailed to open waters, my ship dove, and then I was able to surface at my first map piece. Once on the island, I made sure the compass needle was twitching. Like I said, twitching, vibrating. And I followed the compass until it started spinning, and I dug up the map piece. Now, after this, I could see that the needle was no longer twitching, so I went ahead and oriented towards the next island, and I started sailing in that direction until the needle started twitching again, which told me that I was close to the next island. Now, I got fairly unlucky, as I actually had to find 5 out of the 6 map pieces before I could find the X. You can, however, bypass this on a small island, because if you can figure out what island it is and it's small, you can just dig around it till you find the key. It wouldn't take very long, but sometimes this can take as long as actually just getting the map pieces depending on your island, but you can technically brute force your way through it if you can figure out what island it is, but you don't get the X. After traveling to the 5 different islands to get all of the map pieces that I needed to get the X, I headed to the island depicted and I dug up the key. After I dug up the key, I read the inscription to tell me which island to go to and where on the island to go to. I had to go to Kraken's Fall, and it told me to go under the main stone bridge, and because the key was a shark, I knew that I had to look for shark paintings on the wall. Once I got to the island, I found where it was talking about, and I found the little square nearby to set the key on top of, and I headed inside that first set of doors. Now, I did the puzzle first, and I was doing this solo, so, like I said, if you're doing this solo, you want to prioritize that because it's the most expensive thing. I did this by getting all of the medallions, but like I said, if you practice the other method a few times, it works pretty easily, but I just want to show this with the 3. I had finished the puzzle pretty quickly as I found the medallions pretty quickly, and finished the puzzle, and I got my ancient chest of tributes, and I set it outside the first set of doors. After that, I dropped all the chests down and carried all of them outside the actual vault door. Not all the way to the top, but just outside that actual vault door, and after I got all of them out, it closed. Heard it fill up with water. I didn't have anything left that I needed in there. Like I said, I only got the chests because I didn't want to carry all the trinkets up solo. I carried them up, moved my ship over and harpooned them, and like I said, on my way, I did encounter a Reaper's Mark, but they didn't cause any problems, so I was able to sell in peace. But just, if you don't want that PvP possibility, just make sure before you start that there are no Reaper's Marks on your map. Now, if you can stack and then sell an emissary grade 5, I would, but you may not always be able to do this. And also, I will say, I was using a captainship, so I was able to sell the sovereigns, which solo drastically sped up my selling time. After selling, I made sure to lower my emissary flag as I was done for the night, and that gives you a little bit of extra rep in gold. Now, this method can give anywhere between 1 to 5 levels per vault, depending on your level of what you're currently at, because the levels level quicker and slower depending on where you're at, and how efficient you are at actually getting everything out of the vault, maybe how many people you have. So just, it depends a little bit, but 1 to 5 levels, which is really good for regular quests. Now, it's not anything compared to exploits, but it's really good for regular quests, and if you're just starting out in the game, this will get you very far. At first, the total quest will probably take you about an hour, or maybe even longer, but it's well worth it as far as normal leveling methods go, and the better you get at it, the quicker you'll be able to do it. Now, if you do get bored of this, and you're tired and you don't think you're leveling fast enough, I do have an exploited version on my channel which levels a lot faster, but if you're new, I would definitely recommend learning the game mechanics before jumping straight into exploits. But it's there on my channel if you want to go find that as well. As I said at the beginning, I'm currently trying to reach 5,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me if you could help me get there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.